I'm Corbett Wall with DVAuction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, November the 29th, brought to you in part by the Witex Corporation. Established in 1967, they provide excellence in animal health, including but not limited to all-American ID tags for all classes of livestock. For more information, go to y-tex.com. Ridiculousness. And that's about the only way that you can describe the cattle futures here of late, actually over the last 3 weeks, but especially the last 3 sessions, which include last Friday, Black Friday there after Thanksgiving holiday. Your January feeder cattle contract was down $7.80. Monday it was down $6.52. Tuesday was up $8.25, and it's not that we're not thankful that it did come back big on Tuesday, but it just shows how ridiculous it is. And the cattle futures actually flushed open interest on Monday. So as thinly traded as it is, we had tons of contracts just completely get out on Monday, and then it left it open for it to come up a bunch on Tuesday, which is a good thing to get it back and to where it doesn't disrupt our cash markets any more than it already has. But not only the industry has lost faith in it because it has no integrity, now it appears that a lot of the funds and the speculators and people that dabble in it has lost faith in it too. But it almost scares me to the point that I'm thinking that this could be the latest black swan. Every time we got our markets going pretty good, we get a black swan event that comes in and destroys everything. We had the Tyson fire at Holcomb, Kansas there that came in. We had COVID that come in as a black swan. Is this the latest black swan? Just your LRP disruptions here, which I feel like, and everybody else pretty much feels like that's what's happening here. It's so thinly traded, and then we've got lots of LRPs being taken out, and then whenever your insurance companies go in and lay that off, and then everybody goes in and dogpiles that, and then we have people that are abusing the LRP program. And it just kind of scares me that may be the latest black swan. And you think, well, black swans are supposed to be outside of the industry. Well, technically, nobody ever saw this coming, and we had no idea that this could come in and do the effects that it's done here in the last few weeks on our cattle futures. But it is definitely disrupting our markets and our cash markets, and it's just got a lot of uncertainty brewing. And we knew that we were at really tall prices, handsome prices for everything, but we also know how tight our numbers are and all of our fundamentals are bright. But it starts people to thinking, well, we knew where the prices were, where we thought our supplies were at. Well, maybe they didn't need to be that high for where supplies are at. But the cash markets were supporting that up until we saw this big sell-off in our futures. And it's very frustrating, and I'll be interested to hear, and I wished I was there. I just had a mix-up in my schedule there, not being at the U.S. Cattlemen's Association's annual meeting that's going to be taking place in Fort Worth this Friday and Saturday. And if you guys can go, you're welcome to go. And it's not expensive like some organizations that you've gone to before. It's a reasonable price there, registration price there. You can get in and you can go to those meetings on Friday and Saturday. They are going to have the chair of the CME and the CFTC on hand to answer questions, and they will be getting questions, because U.S. Cattlemen's Association is all about the meetings, all about getting something done, and all about trying to fix what's wrong with this industry. So if you guys can possibly go to the U.S. Cattlemen's Association's annual meeting coming up this weekend, I encourage you to go to that. Also, we've got some big sales coming up here this week, some special sales. My good friends at South Central Regional Stockyards in Vienna, Missouri are going to be having a special here today in Vienna, Missouri. and they get some of the best quality. I don't care where you're at. If you're way up north, if you're in Nebraska, if you're in Iowa, wherever you want to go, anywhere in the world, they've got quality that will satisfy you there. And they've got a lot of 400 to 700 pound weaned vaccinated calves there, and you will love them. They're on DVAuction.com. You can view and bid those cattle here today starting at 10 a.m. at South Central Regional Stockyards. And then coming up on Saturday at 1 o'clock p.m., Green City Livestock Marketing and other DVAuction broadcasters having a big special bred heifer sale. It's the second annual Brinkley Angus bred heifer sale, and then they've got two other large consignments there of AI bred heifers with Keneally genetics and then cleaned up with Brinkley bulls. So I encourage you to get on to DVAuction.com this Saturday, December the 2nd. View, get registered to bid on those fancy, top quality Angus bred heifers there at Green City Livestock Marketing. Talk about your board on Tuesday, December live cattle futures. Of course, they got pulled up with the feeder futures there, but December live cattle up 287 at 170, 165. February was up $4 because it's way out there, and 172.82 on the close there. Your back months were all big, up from 292 to 420 higher. So we're glad to see us rebound on that. We're just disgusted with the volatility. January feeder cattle up 8 1/4 at 221.05. March up 7.20 at 223.50. Your back months on your feeder cattle up as little as $6.30, which is the farthest months out, November of 24, and as much as up 7.52 on your out fronts on the feeder cattle. December corn down 4 cents at 451.5. January beans up 16 3/4 cents at 1346.5. Kansas City hard red winter wheat for December, with the cold blasts has come in up 23 cents at 6.13 a bushel. Your fat cattle trade continued to see a little bit of trade early in the morning before we saw the big gains on the board. But some more people succumb to those pitiful bids that come out with the sell-off of the board early in the week. But Iowa sold another 100 head, 3,400 for the week, 174 live, and 270 is all dressed. Nebraska 250 head sold on Tuesday morning at 175. Kansas sold 900. They've sold 1,800 for the week at 175. That's $2 lower in the Southern Plains. Texas sold 1,700 on Tuesday morning, 4,700 for the week, from 173 to 175. So surely they won't keep accepting those type of bids here if the board holds what it's got, but who knows what's going to happen with that. No integrity in the cattle futures at all. But brick and mortar sale, Yankton, South Dakota, Stockman's livestock market there. That's 1,600 head in overnight, 2,400 fat cattle for their in-house fat cattle sale through the ring. But conventional cattle, steers and heifers, given to me by Gary Marks there, said they sold mostly from 172 to 180, 150, which is 75 cents higher on the top side, as much as $3 lower on the bottom side. Your drug-free, non-implanted program type fat cattle sold from 177.5 to 185.50. Gary said that one order buyer bought the majority of the cattle, and he was on the top side of the market. Your major packers come in and were basically bottom feeders and wanting to buy cattle down there in the 170s. But your box beef cutout values were mixed on Tuesday. Choice cuts up 92 cents Tuesday afternoon at 298.17. Your selects down $1.45 at 266.35. Your slaughter, we're not seeing the packers get aggressive even on this week, which is traditionally a week of really stepping up the harvest. But slaughter through the first 2 days of the week, 248,000. 3,000 less than that last week, 7,000 less than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Legend Bank has fast and efficient cattle financing, located in North Texas, but can help you anywhere in Texas or Oklahoma. Greg Brooks and Ricky Taylor can help you with cattle financing and an operating capital to help you with your operation. Check them out at legend.bank. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DVAuction. Late in the day on Tuesday, sitting at 222.02, down 655 after that huge sell-off on Monday, and before we really got the full effect, which we didn't see the full strength of your futures market on feeder cattle, especially until late in the day. So most of those cattle had already sold, and 7-day moving average or Monday down market still weighing heavily on your real-time index, but that's significant losses. Latest CME cash feeder cattle index sitting at 226.86. We've got I'm coming to you here from Osage, Iowa, and we had an excellent meeting here with the local commodity elevator. It was a feedlot meeting, had a good crowd, mostly all farmer feeders, mostly sell negotiated cash on their fat cattle. They understand the problems. They were attentive and really into what I had to tell them about our problems with the lack of negotiated trade. But I'm just glad to be able to speak to them. Going to be going down later in the week, speaking at the Missouri Livestock Symposium, which is in Kirksville, Missouri. Talk about your big feeder sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard in West Plains, Missouri had 2,350 head through the ring. Another 700 head that they sold with their in-house video with help from DVAuction. Your steer calves under 700 pounds were kind of uneven compared to last week's lighter run, from $4 lower to $4 higher, but a lot of them selling steady despite the big sell-off on the board. Heifer calves were steady to $4 lower. Yearling feeders were steady to weak, but the comparisons were light from last week, where they didn't have a very big run because of the holiday. But two big sales coming up in West Plains at Ozarks Regional Stockyard. One is coming up this Friday, December 1st at 8:30 in the morning. That's going to be a wean vac special. Be a lot of top quality cattle sold in bigger bunches, more uniform. More of them will have, or most all of them will have all the work done on them. And you can get on to DVAuction.com, view and bid that sale. And then next Friday, December the 8th, they're going to have a special replacement cow and bull sale. Now it starts at 5 o'clock in the evening or in the late afternoon. Check out both of those sales on DVAuction.com. Talk about your NationalBeefWire stick out sale of the day. Kimball Livestock Exchange in Kimball, South Dakota. They had over 4,100 cattle there, feeder cattle on hand. And you look at this automated market report through Cattle Market Central, and you see your best tested weights, which they were well tested throughout, but very impressive quotes. And this is on all the cattle that come through. 345 head of 4-weight steer calves, average 457 with a weighted average price of $312.56. 529 head of 5-weight steer calves, average 535 at $286.65. There was 452 head of 6-weight steers. They averaged 624 pounds, the weighted average price of $261.93, and 301 head of 9-weight steers, average 912 at $241.66, with a stick out quote that I'm going to give you in the individual quotes here in just a second. Heifers, 461 head of 4-weight heifers, average 452 at $278.57. 432 head of 5-weight heifers, average 547 at $260.72. And 793 head of 8-weight heifers in Kimball, South Dakota, had a weighted average weight of 857 and a weighted average price of $227.19. Give you several individual quotes from all around. Beaver County Stockyards had an active sale. Talked to Jeff Slatton during the sale, and he was so relieved that the market was as good as it was after the big sell-off on the board. He's cussing the board. Everybody hates the board. People want to get rid of it. They don't know how. But He had several yearling steers in there, and they were grass yearlings. I mean, green grass yearlings there, not green grass, but they were green cattle coming off the grass. But he had some grazing yearling steers there that I thought topped the market. 53 yearling steers in Beaver, Oklahoma. They weighed 618 pounds and bring 267 in the Oklahoma Panhandle, guys. How about Bluegrass Yard, Farmer Stockyards in Flemingsburg, Kentucky? That's the newest location there of the Bluegrass Yards. They sold 56 steers way out east, guys, weighed 1,000 pounds and bring $2 a pound. I thought that was impressive for where that happened. Kimball Livestock Exchange, I mentioned it earlier, had a really stick-out sale on some 9-weight steers. There was 233 head of them, weighed 913 and bring 244 and a quarter. You won't see that anywhere else. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday for where it is, where it happened, and what it was, in your Macrocin No BS top quote for the day, come out of OKC West in El Reno, Oklahoma. DVAuction broadcaster there sold some Wheaties. 89 506-pound steer calves bring 314 in El Reno, Oklahoma. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.